She will be past the effects of morning sickness, and the fetus is not yet big enough to cause the kind of discomfort she will feel at the end of pregnancy. From 24 weeks or 6 months, the fetus enters one of the most exciting and dramatic periods of development. This is the time when she receives her first stimulation from the world beyond, as her senses flicker into life. Most of the sense organs, ears, nose, taste buds, and the nerves that respond to touch are now mature. Her brain is being bombarded by signals from these sensory cells, and it must begin to interpret this overload of sensation. Throughout her life, her senses will be her key to the world beyond. They will allow her to develop a sense of self, to interact with others, to explore, and to learn. Already taste, hear, smell, touch, and learn. Sounds are louder. She is feeling jostled and squeezed. Her living space has become cramped and uncomfortable. She is about to be forced from the calm and comforting cocoon that has been the only world she's known, and thrust into a noisy, bright, and terrifying new world.
Wonderful.
This is the story of the incredible journey this little girl has taken inside her mother's womb, from a single cell to a full-grown baby in just 9 months.
And again, come on.
The new generation of 4D ultrasound scans are continually providing fresh insight into the behavior of the growing fetus. The technology is advancing, and as the experience of practitioners evolves, the expanding wealth of imagery sheds new light on the invisible world inside the womb. In this image, we can clearly see a 24-week-old fetus sticking out her tongue. No one knows exactly why, but we do know that her mouth is full of taste buds. She could be tasting the amniotic fluid. A fetus's mouth and nose are permanently filled with amniotic fluid that we know can carry the tastes and smells of the mother's food. Strong flavors will easily pass through the placenta into the baby's bloodstream and will eventually be passed out into the amniotic fluid, and the baby can get an early taste of her mother's cooking. Taste and smell are closely linked. Taste is a very limited sense. It only tells you if food is sweet, sour, salty, or bitter. Its main purpose is to make sure we don't eat anything poisonous. To identify more complex flavors like garlic, onion, chicken, herbs, we actually use our sense of smell, a much more sophisticated sense. Very strong spices even stimulate pain receptors in the mouth. A developed sense of taste and smell could help the baby take her first sips of breast milk once she's born. Just like the amniotic fluid, breast milk will contain a similar selection of tastes and smells from the mother's food. If the newborn baby is already familiar with these flavors and likes the taste, this may encourage her to feed. This scan shows a 24-week-old fetus opening and closing her eyes. Although the eyes are fully formed by halfway through the pregnancy, 5 weeks ago, seeing is the one sense a fetus can't experience until she's born. It's too dark in the womb. It is possible that some very bright light could penetrate into the uterus, direct sunlight for instance, and the fetus may be able to detect a faint glow. But the uterus wall is so thick, buried under a layer of skin and fat, that most of the time the fetus evolves in total darkness. There may be nothing to see, but opening and closing in this way helps the fetus develop the blinking reflex, a reflex that stays with us for life, protecting our eyes from foreign objects, keeping them moist, and shielding them from bright light. At 25 weeks, the eyes are so intricate that even the eyelashes have grown. But there is one detail that may not fully develop, however much time the fetus spends inside the womb: the color of the eyes. Some pigments need light to form properly, and the baby's eyes may change color during the first months of life. Babies of Asian or African descent will usually be born with dark brown or dark grey eyes that mature to deep brown or black. A Caucasian baby will almost always have blue eyes in the womb, even if they're destined to become green or brown. Geneticists used to believe that one gene determined the color of the eyes. But new research has shown that several genes are responsible, and it's impossible to tell, just from looking at the parent's eyes, what color the baby's eyes will be. Perhaps the most keenly developed of all the fetal senses is hearing. The fetus may be completely surrounded by amniotic fluid, but because sound travels through fluid about 4 times faster than it does in air, she has plenty to hear. The first sounds the fetus heard, as her ears started picking up vibrations at 13 weeks, were the gurgles and rumbles made by the mother's body. A succession of hiccups, burps, bubbles, sloshes and slurps will mark the passage of food, liquid and air in, out, and through the maze of passages and tubes just inches from the baby's ears. The fetus too makes her own noises as she kicks and swishes in the amniotic fluid. She will also hear the competing thuds of heartbeats, her own racing at twice the speed of her mother's, both her constant companions through her time in the womb.